twice in our generation, the communities of America have learned that they are very much a part of the world when the world is at war. If we are to prevent war and to build enduring peace, every community in America must realize that it is very much a part of the world when the world is at peace. We have joined with our allies in the United Nations to put an end to war. We have covenanted not to use force except in defense of law. The United States will keep that covenant. As a great power and as a permanent member of the Security Council, we have a responsibility, veto or no veto, to see that other states do not use force except in defense of law. The United States must discharge that responsibility.
A coalition group of communists, socialists, and cooperative party members demonstrates against the cabinet in Tokyo. Hundreds of thousands of trade unionists turn out in a monster mass protest against Premier Shigeru Yoshida. Calling for his resignation and the overthrow of the government, Communist leader Takuda incites the crowd to further disorder. Food and housing shortages, lack of wage and price legislation, and widespread unemployment take the crowd to the Diet, where a motion calling for its dissolution is defeated, leaving Yoshida in the saddle until election time. Meanwhile, Allied headquarters must deal with the present cabinet until it is unseated. Since it is becoming increasingly unpopular, it may be that the Yoshida regime will face defeat under the new constitution this year. £20,000 of highly dangerous metallic sodium head for destruction in Lake Lenoir, Washington. The government surplus chemical ignites and explodes when wet. The alkali lake is devoid of fish and forms an admirable disposal spot. A 3,500-pound container of sodium hurtles into the lake and crashes through a foot of ice. As the water seeps in, smoke rises through a series of muffled explosions. The acrid clouds billow several thousand feet over the steep sides of the lake. Disposal of the chemical by the War Assets Administration is made necessary because no public carrier will accept it for transportation to a purchaser. One after another, with varying effects, the containers go up with spectacular results as water and sodium meet. A once lethal war chemical becomes a peacetime pyrotechnic display.
This reel is really a fire escape. Irvin Bassett fixes the safety belt about himself and pushes the drum of steel tape out of the window. He prepares for a 12-story descent to the street. Appropriately, this test is conducted in Atlanta, scene of the disastrous Weinkauf Hotel fire, which claimed over 100 lives. He descends the 120 feet to the street at about an elevator speed. The 65-year-old man makes the trip in about 18 seconds. The reel supporting the tapes works on the principle of an automobile brake drum and controls the fall to an exact rate so that the fire victim hits the ground gently. There's scarcely enough jar to make the knees bend. The tape can then be quickly reeled back for a second person. Keen interest has been focused on the invention because of the recent hotel fires and their toll of life. Its inventor plans a portable model weighing less than 10 pounds that can be carried in a suitcase. Just watch the ledgers, that's all. But he's down safe and sound, and that's what counts. Another ally against that old enemy, fire. Navy privateer makes a jet-assisted takeoff at the All-American Air Maneuvers at Miami, Florida. Air-minded Americans by the thousands turn out for Dixie's great aviation spectacle. And here's a feature event that evokes memories of old barnstorming days. It's Jess Bristow flying his old Boeing fighter. There are plenty of sunburned tonsils in this crowd when Harold Ludwig throws his weight around in his open-air pusher. Nice footwork, if you ask me. Just like a boy. Boxing's on the card at St. Helena's Gym in the Bronx tonight. Golden Gloves Boxing. First round bouts in the sub-novice lightweight class, and it's strictly standing room only. Matteo Strapone takes the measure of Tony Perillo, for the time being, that is. Tony gets in a lick or two and seems to be able to absorb all that Matteo can dish out, which is plenty. But you can't tell about these amateurs. It's nip and tuck, hit or miss. And now it's Tony who finally gets a glove on Matteo's ribs, and that leads to trouble for both fighters. Up they come, and at it they go again. But it's about all over for Matteo Strapone. Next, we have Tony Marino and Harold Torrance. Same class, same vim and vigor. Torrance is the young colored lad, and he's got a mean reach, but Marino gets inside him, and when he does, look out, Harold. The youngster was game, but he was up against a couple of fists that packed a discouraging wallop, and the ref says, that's all.